Okay, so today we're going to talk about the Roman Empire and its beginnings and some of the things that go along with that. First of all, the period that's going to start immediately, the civil war that took place that we talked about yesterday, and the start of Augustus's reign, which was in 27 BC. But with this, they're going to start a period of peace and prosperity in the Roman Empire, also known as the Pax Romana. So this period is considered a time of Roman peace. That's what this means, Pax Romana. Ultimately, you have this very large empire. It's 3 million square miles. There's 60 to 80 million people living within the empire. And it's good for a lot of people because, throughout the empire, it's relatively peaceful. You can trade throughout it. You can travel relatively easily without much hassle, and it was pretty successful. Now, the one big difference now that it is an empire has to do politically. So if you have your chart out, you can add that to under the empire. You now have an emperor that has total control and oversees all decisions. Now, technically, the Senate is still functioning. But really, it's the empire that has these, civil servants that are going to kind of watch over the empire. So they're government officials, really controlled by the emperor that are going to rule throughout the land. Ultimately, these people will be keeping track of the grain supply. They will focus on tax collection. So the example we did in class the other day with the tax farmers, those guys are gone. And they also have an effective postal service system in operation. So with that postal system, it is excellent to have good roads. And the Romans were known for their roads. So in terms of infrastructure, you have these roads that really connect the empire together. This phrase becomes popular: all roads lead to Rome. So here's a little cartoon that illustrates that. But definitely these roads are going to be what connect the empire, keep it together, keep it safe for travel and trade throughout. Another aspect of their infrastructure has to do with the aqueducts. Because of these aqueducts, they were designed by Roman engineers, and they essentially bring water to these cities and towns. You can see the example here on the bottom. This would be your Roman aqueduct in exactly how it works, bringing the water to the city. Now, because of their advanced infrastructure, probably more so to do with the roads, is going to encourage cultural diffusion between Rome and the rest of the world, really. Certainly the areas that they've conquered, but now this is also going to be able to bring them to the outskirts and connect with other countries. So that brings up another point, and we're going back to this image here in terms of citizenship. Now that you have this large empire connected by all these roads, many of the provinces, they had people living in them that were not considered citizens, but at the same time they were required to send troops for the Roman army. And when they were fighting for the Roman army, they started to learn more of the Roman customs while in the army, and then they start to bring these ideas back to their provinces after their duty had ended. So this is, kind of part of the Roman plan too, to be able to spread their ways and their culture throughout. So you'll see different aspects of Roman culture throughout, all of this empire. Now, in terms of the economy in Rome, the biggest thing is going to have to do with agriculture. About 90% of the population was going to participate in farming. Certainly a lot of slave population involved in this. And then certainly trade will be a large part as well. They're going to use trade and, of course, the roads to obtain luxury items for the wealthy and additional food when needed. And they also had a money system. They had the denarius, which was a uniform silver coin, and this was used for trade throughout the empire as well. Okay, so on to the actual emperors here. So first of all, we ended the class yesterday with Augustus. So with Augustus, he rules for quite some time, 44 years or so, and ends up dying in 14 AD. So with that, the next emperor is going to take over. His name is Tiberius. He takes control. The empire is strong under his leadership, but there's really no major changes. Now, although I mentioned the Pax Romana going on for quite some time, Rome is going to have some really bad rulers. Then they're also going to have some good ones too. I'm going to highlight some of the bad ones and some of the good ones. Just take down their names, and I'll tell you some of their stories. You don't need to write down the stories that go along with them, but it's good to know kind of who was bad and who was good. Okay, so here are your really, really bad emperors. We've got Caligula, Nero, and Domitian. Now there are some rulers in between them, but these guys are the top three. They rule between 37 and 96 AD. So first of all, Caligula, the guy on the left, this guy is really just mentally disturbed. He one time appointed his horse as consul. He, pleasured in sleeping with other men's wives, ordered guards to throw fans into arenas and have them killed. He also participated in incestuous relationships with members of his family. So just totally messed up. Then there's a break. There's another guy in between after Caligula, a guy by the name of Claudius. He doesn't do much. Then Nero, the guy in the middle, he takes over. He's very vicious. He murdered many people. Definitely known for persecuting a lot of Christians, many of which are going to be killed in gladiator-like arenas, although the Colosseum is actually not built yet. This guy also, while Rome was burning, so Rome burnt down during his reign, it's quite possible that he is the one that lit it on fire. He was sitting in his palace singing while it was happening, or sitting up on a hill playing a musical instrument and singing. And then after this area was burnt down, he built an even larger palace for himself there. So then after Nero, we've got Vespasian. He's actually the one that has the Colosseum built. So he's between 69 and 79. And then you've got Domitian. He's the guy on the right. Rules from 81 to 96. And basically he was, a cruel dictator, and executed many people, again, persecuting Christians. He was fearful of treason, like he thought people were going to go against him, which was probably he thought that for good reason, because eventually a court official ended up assassinating him. So he ends the period of bad rulers. There's certainly more stories that go along with these guys, but they certainly are just messed up. Okay, so now we got the good rulers coming in from 96 to about 180. I won't go into as much detail on each of them, but Nerva on the top left there, he began the custom of adopting an heir, but overall a good ruler. But this idea of adopting an heir is a good idea because then there was less, killing to assume the throne in this sort of political game that's played. Then you got Trajan there in the top middle, 98 to 117. He took the empire to its largest. He did a lot of building programs, had a lot of social welfare programs. He's also known for building this huge market in Rome, the Trajan markets they're referred to as. The remains are still there, so that's something you could see while in Rome. Then we've got Hadrian on the top right. He was known for building this wall here. This is in England, and it's parts of the wall still remain, but this was to keep out invaders, and he kind of reorganized the bureaucracy that was their political system. Then you got in the bottom left Antoninus Pius, just overall ruled during a period of peace and was a decent guy. ruled from 138 to 161. And then the last ruler, probably the most famous of the great rulers, was Marcus Aurelius, ruled from 161 to 180. Led it during the height of the economic period for Rome, defeated many invaders, and overall was a pretty good ruler. Then he has a son named Commodus. Now, if you've ever seen Gladiator, this story is very loosely based on Marcus Aurelius and his son Commodus. Commodus is the guy played by Joaquin Phoenix, but Commodus is a whole nother story. Maybe we'll talk about him a little bit on Monday. Okay, so that's going to be about it. We're going to get into some more of the cultural aspects of Rome, the Roman Empire, on Monday. We will talk certainly about the Colosseum and gladiator games and things like that. Some other aspects of Roman life that are certainly worth mentioning, and we'll also get some pictures. I'll have some pictures to show you from when I went to Rome and saw a lot of cool stuff. So we will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.